whole idea of, well, I teach math and I use my math lab and it's awesome, and it is. And this, the term last week was, publisher materials are sexy, but you want to marry OER, is what the guy said. And, you know, some of the, we've given presentations at places and they're like, well, they're not for color. The materials are black and white, or they don't have really pretty illustrations all the time. And we have this great tool called My Open Math, which is a math homework system that we have some faculty trying in some other disciplines as well. But it maybe not be flashy and for color, but it's super functional, and students really like the function of these tools. And what's great is they're crowdsourced. So what I mean by being crowdsourced is what we have for the district in terms of My Open Math. We have James Sousa's 4,500 videos. We have problems created by math faculty across the district as well as across the world. And it just keeps getting added to and better. And so what happens is students will be like, I need to learn about this topic in fractions. But I know that sometimes I can speak forever and I am telling them the same thing over and over again and I can't think of it another way. But that's okay, because Melinda might have thought about it another way and made a video, and they can be like, I need to learn about this type of fraction, and they can click on it and hear about it from Melinda and get a completely different take on it. So it's still the same instruction, it's still the same extra resources, but there's so many of them that students can really get a couple different voices. So a couple of things, you know, we showed you that we've saved almost $3.5 million. People want to know how we came up with that. And first of all, the America, do you want to talk a little bit about America Millions and the 40, or you want me to? Or? No, go ahead. Okay. So we call it low cost and no cost. No cost is free. Could be OER and free, or it could be public domain and free, or it could be copywritten and free. But no cost is free. Low cost is less than $40. We surveyed students and we asked them, what is low cost course materials to you? And they came up with $40. We were thinking 30, but they were like, 40 is good for us. So we went with what they had to share with us, $40. Now this could be OER materials that might need to be printed, like we're doing with math at Scottsdale. It could be like I have a textbook for one of the classes I teach. It's $28. I can't write a better textbook. I love this textbook. It's written beautifully. It addresses every single one of my competencies. I use every chapter in the book. My students say it's a keeper. They want to keep it on their shelf. So why would I try to do something different? So there's no need. I'm lucky it's less than $40. If it was $50, even though I'm the OER girl, I would still, one of the OER girls, I would still use the textbook because, no, we are the girls. But I would still use it because it's the best tool for instruction for my students that I can find today. But less than 40, so low cost, no cost, yes.
So could it be no textbook and then like a virtual lab?
Yes, if it's less than $40, yeah. Or it could be an OER, an open textbook that they access online with a lab that they're paying for. Yes.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it has to be $40 after the bookstore puts their markup on it. So we use a tool, that ebook I was talking about, it's $40 if the students buy it online. But I can't list it as a low-cost materials because the bookstore marks it up and it's $50-something by the time. So, but we do work really hard with our publishers, you know, because we're not trying to say that published materials are bad and that we should all move away from it. There's some good stuff, like Lisa's example of the textbook that she uses, my example of the materials that I use. These are things that I feel like I couldn't teach without, but I've also worked really hard with my book publisher to get the price as low as they can get it. And they have gotten it down to $40 for us, but I can't do it with the bookstore. So I'm still happy though, because that's what we're trying to get everybody to recognize, is you can have that same conversation with your publisher if you're not really ready to give up your materials. If you've lowered your book cost from $100 to $75, that's still a win for students. We don't count it in our calculations, but it's still a win, and that's our ultimate goal anyway.
Absolutely. And so what we look at that, and then what we do is we look at a cost across the board, nationwide, the average cost of textbooks, taking into account selling back books and rentals, is $100. So we're figuring on $100 per textbook, and that's conservative. We have some classes being taught at the Maricopa Community Colleges that are $280, $230 for a textbook per class. And then we look at a very conservative class size of 20 students per class.
That's way conservative.
Yeah, I mean, because we don't really have a lot of classes with 20 students, but we didn't want to overinflate the numbers. We wanted to be able to stand behind those numbers. So that's how we came up with these numbers. So let's talk a little bit about the grants. Do we want to show them here? Do we want to show them? Do you want to?
You don't need that? What slide do you have?
I have that slide. Some timeline slide.
Yeah, I have it. So you do have it. Okay, so I just posted, or I just sent out an email earlier today that was supposed to go out on Friday that we had a call for proposals. And basically it's phase 4. We've already had 3 phases. We've had 6 classes, I think? 6 classes that are in various stages of development. So this new call is a little different in that we're inviting all courses to submit, all faculty to submit a course for OER development. In the past, we wanted to emphasize high enrollment courses. That still is a priority, but it doesn't eliminate those of you that teach sort of those E&H classes, those smaller classes where maybe there's only 2 or 3 sections offered on your campus, compared to like in English 101 where there's on our campus 400, which is just amazing to me. So we're offering that opportunity for everybody to submit one, but we still are putting priority on cross-campus collaboration. So I just got an email, which happens when you send an email out to everybody. Now, that's the interesting thing that I learned about my new role is that you send emails out to everybody, and guess what? They email you back. But anyway, the question was, well, I teach a class. It's only taught 1 or 2 sections on my campus and 1 or 2 sections on all the other campuses. Do you think that would work? Mm-hmm. And my response to her was, yes, but you'd probably have a better chance of getting funded if you could convince some of those other people who are developing to develop with you. So reach out. She's from Phoenix College. I go reach out to Chandler Gilbert and see who's teaching that class, see if they want to help. Reach out to Glendale and see if they want to help. Now, if they presented that proposal together, then they get marked higher because it's cross-campus collaboration. So statement of interest is what's due first, and that's due February 23rd. And all that is just it's an email, no, it's a form that says, I'm interested. This is a course that I'm interested in, and I would love to be a part of the team to help develop this. And the whole idea of the statement of interest is to grab the people. So if you submit one from your college in your discipline, and then we get another one from Phoenix College in the same discipline, we compare you together. So we go through all of those statements of interest, we pair you up, and then we send out an email and say, you all have this course in common, would you be interested in submitting a proposal? Then you can decide as a group if you can work with each other, and then you would submit your proposals. And those are due by March 23rd. Okay? And the proposal's pretty a lengthy process, so you don't want to sit down at your computer and open up the Google form and just start typing in your answer. We provide a Word document that you can download as well and think through your responses before you submit it. Then you can cut and paste it into the document. But we're really looking for a good plan for your proposal. So it's not, I just want to develop E&H 114, which is African American literature. It's, I want to develop it, this is going to be my plan, this is how I'm going to help distribute it, these are the people that are going to work with me, this is why this class is important. A lot of those things are what we're asking for you to tell us about in the proposal. If you need help with your proposals, I would suggest that you go see Julianne and your CTL, and anyone else out there, check with people in your CTL.
How many people can submit? Or is it residential only, or could we have adjunct on our teachers' side?
Yes, good question. So the way the grants are funded, it's funded to pay 3 faculty members 3 load hours over 3 semesters. But it doesn't mean that you're limited to just 3 people, but that's just where the money cuts off. So you take the total money, and let's say you have a group of 5 people, which is what we had with reading. Reading at Scottsdale.
The whole department, all the residential faculty in the reading department went in together on it and split that.
So they just split it out. So instead of getting the 3 load hours for 3 people, they spread it out. If you only have 2 people, you don't split the 3. It's just you just get 2. 2 people are funded. As far as adjuncts, yes, they are welcome to participate, but they need to have a sponsor, a full-time sponsor, so that we can know that they're working, and that if that faculty member disappears for some reason, you know, full-time, we're not going anywhere, right? But adjuncts, things happen, they could disappear. We also can't, what do you call it? No
promise of employment. Right.
So if your college decides that this person in the middle of this grant, that we don't have a class for that person, they can't get paid from the grant to continue the process. They need to be employed by the college, any college, before they can continue on. So yes, adjuncts can participate, but we call it a sponsor. If they're part of your group, it's going to be best.
And we definitely want adjuncts to be involved. I mean, we have a psychology class right now that's being developed by a couple of an adjunct and a residential together. And we can't wait to see it. We're really excited. So we're excited that those opportunities arise and that we get that subject matter expert to be so closely involved.
Alise, can you clarify? You said 3 faculty, 3 load hours for 3 semesters. That's 3 load hours.
No, so it's 3 load hours total, and then that's spread out. So it really is equivalent to 1 load hour per semester.
Okay.
It's a stipend. It's it's certainly not going to compensate you for all of the time that you're putting in, unfortunately, but it's definitely going to help.
Mm-hmm. And it's a way to get the support that many people need to create a project like this. I mean, a lot of times we want to develop online courses, blended courses, and now OER courses, but we don't know where to start as faculty. So with being part of the grant, you get built-in support. So there's going to be training, similar to some of the things that we'll share with you today, but you will also be connected with not just your instructional designer on your campus, but hopefully your librarians. We also have an instructional designer from MCLI that's assigned to us, Rob Morales, that will help out with your projects. And then both Lisa and I are good for
Paul,
help.
and that.
Paul too can help as well. So this semester, the call's out. Once we get the proposals in, we will evaluate them. We use a rubric to rate them. We will inform the recipients of the grants by, what's our projected date? April or something?
Yeah, early April.
Early April, and then you will get started in summer. Yeah, so summer, and then you'll develop your course through the summer and the fall, and then you'll pilot the course in the spring. So next spring, you'll be piloting the course. So going back to that adjunct scenario again, any adjunct that is participating, they need to make sure that they're able to teach that course in the pilot semester. So most adjuncts don't always get to say what courses they teach and when they teach them, so that might be a conversation you want to have with the chair before that person gets involved. That's it. Anything else I'm missing? Great. Okay. So you can find all of this information on the website, which we'll share with you in a second.
How many proposals have been accepted in the last 4 phases?
That's right. That's perfect. That's what we have up.
Good question.
So our first phase was English 101 and English 102. And that was piloted last semester, and we'll be sharing those materials out this semester. So we're really excited. That's the first one that has completed the cycle. Our second phase was Reading 091, Developmental Reading, and Chemistry Lab, Chem 130 Lab. And those 2 are being piloted this semester and will be distributed next semester. We also had a CPD 150 funded, but that got pulled by the instructional council. So if you're here and you're teaching CPD 150, you definitely want to have a talk with your division chair before you move forward with that, because that was that's just interesting. And now we are funding general business, GPS 151, and Psych 101. And so that is we just had our kickoff meeting last 2 weeks or so. So we're getting them started right now. They're starting training and development.
In most other departments, we haven't had any sort of conflict with the, what do you call it, the instructional councils, which we still are shaking our head with this, the counseling, but maybe they're different than the rest of us. So I don't know. I just can't imagine an English council telling me that I can't teach 101 the way I want to teach it. So, but if you have questions about if your discipline has had any trouble, just let us know.
And you don't see math here, but math is pretty much developed. It's pretty maxed out in terms of being developed. We have tons of materials, several different versions of books that were created prior to the America of Millions project, and so we don't fund math classes right now. So math is kind of out of there at this time. In the past, we've been open to funding 3 to 5 grants. Our rubric is, you'll be able to see it, we'll show it to you in a few minutes, but our rubric is very descriptive, and we have a cutoff of 70%. So if a proposal doesn't score average 70% or higher, it's not even considered. So we're looking for you to write a high quality proposal addressing the needs of your college, your department, the multiple colleges if you're doing a collaborative project, and then making sure that you're addressing OER and those components that you're planning to develop.
So does it request in the proposal that we anticipate how much the funding is saved, and if so, what's that formula again?
No, we don't have. We can calculate that. We ask you for I think some enrollment numbers,
Okay.
and then we can calculate the money saved.
So we don't have to do that?
No, we do ask what's your I believe we ask your textbook, so we'll ask you what will your textbook cost, and so we had one proposal that was awesome, but they were going to save their students a substantial amount of money, but it was going to bring their textbook cost down to $150. And it has to be like 40 or less to get funded through the America of Millions.
Are you doing a comparative course-to-course analysis on student success? Is it making a difference?
That's a really good question. That's a question that we got just a couple weeks ago in Orlando. So here's what we found. So first of all, we don't often do that when we switch textbooks. That's not a normal practice for us when we change textbooks at this time. We have done some qualitative information by instructors and students, and they feel that the quality is as good, they feel like they're getting as much, and they're actually getting the book. We have done some studies where we basically found we're doing no harm. Students aren't doing better, they're not doing worse. But the question comes up, well, if students have access to their textbook on day one, half of them weren't buying the textbook, and now they're buying the textbook, why aren't they doing better? And we haven't really gone diving deep into that data. And there was just a study by Bo Young, I want to say Washington, with some really good data that I have to start really looking at, because that's the first instance that we've seen as a movement in terms of seeing student success improve. But I haven't had a chance to read the full report yet. It just came out, I think, on Thursday.
Yeah, it's one of the things, too, that we want to consider is that research, but it gets challenged. I was just watching a ELI session last week in Anaheim, and on OER, and they did a study, and they compared, this is OER class with completely different teachers teaching just regular, using the textbook, whatever textbook they would use. And although the data sounded good, it showed that it was equal, if not a little bit better in some areas, people still challenge even that type of research. One guy stood up and said, well, so what are you basing this research on? The fact that they get the materials on the first day, so therefore they're going to do better? They really couldn't answer the question. So I'm kind of skeptical about what type of research we should do if we do any at all.
We're definitely looking at what's going on out there and trying to see if there's something that we should emulate in terms of the research. But I haven't seen that definitive study yet. I can't wait to read this other article.
Okay, I've been asking this for 2 years now. I don't want grant money. I have stuff. You can have it. Yes.
We'll be putting out a call for what's out there. That's something that we're going to be working on either this semester or this summer to start building our own repository.
We need to find a mechanism, though, for you to be able to check. Excuse me, we're talking about mouthful. For you to be able to check, because there are a lot of people like you out there that have things including myself, but I know for a fact that not most, but majority of my staff, no, not a majority, a good number of my stuff is not, I haven't checked it, and I know I've just sort of grabbed it from the
For Creative
internet.
Commons licensing.
Right, so we want to be able to teach you,
Mine is all hand-drawn,
Oh, wow.
so I did it.
but we would teach you how to put your licenses on it,
And
what
I've done
that
that.
means.
Oh, great.
They're all Creative Commons licensed, they're all out there.
So you'll be ready.
I just,
Yes, so we will be asking you all for that, anything you would like to share in our repository. We're working on that infrastructure.
Well, not everybody is like you.
Yeah, and then there's also the infrastructure of how do we catalog that and meta tag it and all of that so that we get that data out there. No one's really tackled that. We had a dialogue day last week on Friday where we saw a really neat version of that, and we need to do some research on it. But right now we have Canvas, and putting all of that in Canvas, it's not the solution. We don't have the MLS anymore.
yeah,
So-
all the videos are on YouTube, so
Yeah.
lots of people use them, but I get contacted by a lot of K-12 instructors and other college instructors who say, it would be really great if I could just have the video files. And it's a pain for me to try to give somebody that many video, if there was a repository somewhere that they could grab them.
Definitely on our list.
I got two questions. Number one, I saw the first date. You have February the 23rd. I mean, that's gone, right?
That's Monday.
On Monday, so we still have time to do that.
It's easy, it's just, I'm interested in
That's
this.
basically the speed dating aspect of the proposal. It's basically, for you to kind of put in, hey, I'm interested, and someone else to be like, hey, I'm interested, and so we can get you to know who else might be interested in that topic. So it's kind of like if you don't know people at other campuses, then how would you know that someone else wants to? So it's just our way of trying to connect you.
Okay, and number two, has anybody done anything with philosophy or religious studies?
Yeah, not within the Maricopa community colleges. Yes, out there. And so that's one of the really cool things about this grant proposal is we don't necessarily want you recreating the wheel. We love it if you went out and found, does OpenStax have a philosophy club?
I don't think so.
But if you go out and you find some great resources that are open licensed, you modify them for our competencies. Add some supplemental materials, some of those test banks maybe, some of the tests that you're doing, some tests that other faculty or assessment piece, pull that together, maybe take some of the slides that you're already doing, your PowerPoints that you're already doing, making sure they're Creative Commons licensed, changing out some images so that they're usable, then you've done the grant. So we haven't funded philosophy yet, and it's definitely something that would be great to have.
Okay. Sounds good.
Other questions?
Where does the quality control come into play? Is that when they submit the proposal?
So there's a number of places, and chime in on this. But so first of all, there's the development process. So we check in with you every month, making sure, just seeing how things are going. You're working collaboratively as a team. After you pilot the materials, we have a rubric that we go in and look at your course with. It's a combination of Quality Matters and an Achieve OER rubric that we go in. We are going to be looking at your course, looking for, we'll have a subject matter expert, but also looking for the Creative Commons pieces too, so that we don't send something out that's copywritten. Also, when we share the materials, the learning materials will be available to the world. However, your assessment materials will not be available to the world, obviously, because we don't want to compromise, that integrity of our assessments. So people will have to prove to us that they're an instructor before we would provide that information out.
And so, now did you say you have a reading 091 or something?
Yes.
Yeah. So when you have approved that program, then that can be shared across all the campuses. But are there more than one, like maybe 5 different teachers who are teaching that, submit 5 different programs, or is there just one that is shared across the campuses? Or
So with our reading 191, I don't know if I'm understanding your question, so I'm going to try to answer it.
Okay.
We had 5 faculty. We had the entire reading department, all the residential faculty in that department applied for the grant. Together, they developed one version of Reading 091 that is OER.
Okay.
And they're all teaching that version with, the whole idea of open is that, of course, when you think about those popsicle sticks, you can still go in and modify and remix and adapt it a bit for your own needs. But they're all teaching, especially during the pilot, all 5 of them are teaching that one version. And then they'll make edits, submit it to us for us to look at through the rubric at it, and then we'll be able to make it available to everyone. With our English 101 and 102, we had a really interesting thing happen. So when we fund you, the idea of funding cross-college or department funding of the grants is that we want to get adoption. We want to impact the most students as possible. So what we thought would happen is that what do you teach?
I'm actually not teaching right now.
Okay.
I have taught in the past, but right now I work at the computer lab.
Okay.
So what I'm trying to figure out is because we have students who come in at night after everybody else is gone, and they say, I have to write something for one of my classes. I don't remember who my teacher is or what the class number is or what I'm supposed to write, you know. And so if there was a central repository where we could go in and look, and they don't have a book, of course, you know. So if we had access to those same materials and knew what was being used, and I'm sure that there are other support services that would appreciate that as well, like say, for instance, the tutoring center, you know, or my math lab or whatever. If they had access to those and knew what materials the teachers were using, then we could help those students who come in and don't have the answers to any of those questions.
And we aren't there yet. And that we're going to scale. We have to scale a lot to be there.
And that's why I was wondering, is there one set of materials for Reading 091, or are there going to be 25 different sets of materials?
We're going to fund one set of materials for Reading 091. However, someone might take it and remix it and modify it and put that out there for their own use or for their department's use. So there could be even more than the number of books, versions of an OER.
Which even in itself wouldn't be bad as long as we had access to it.
Right,
and
so the
could go
students
find
would have
it.
access to those because they have access to the materials.
Yeah, and we don't anticipate mass adoption of OER. I mean, for us to meet our goals of 5 million in 5 years, we're really looking at 10 to 15% of courses to adopt OER. So that's really a small percentage when you think about it in the individual department.
And it's not a mandate in any way, shape, or form. I mean, this is something that people who are interested, we want to help you.
We want students to have options.
Yes. With English 101, what I was mentioning was that we had 2 faculty on English 101 from 2 different schools who were going to collaborate and create one set of materials for English 101. And we had 2 faculty from 2 different schools who were going to collaborate and develop one set of materials on English 102. What's interesting is that, and I'm not an English major as Alise is, but they had very different instructional and educational philosophies about how they taught their class. And the approaches that they took to their class were completely different. One of them was based on literature, and one was based on rhetoric, which I don't know if one day I'm going to have a conversation about what that means.
Yeah.
But it was pretty much impossible for them to come together and create one OER. And so they created 2. I mean, we couldn't give them any more money or anything, but they created 2. And now we have 2 different approaches to teaching English 101. One is like a book version, and one is a fully functional Canvas course. And the same with English 102. We have one that's like a website version and one that's a full Canvas course. But where we're encouraging people who are applying now is to really work together collaboratively, unless they're, you know, if we come up with an instructional philosophy that's really different, we're hoping we're going to talk about that in advance.
English is really different from a lot of your other disciplines. I mean, like in, say, religion, there's only so many religions. There's probably a consensus on what you want to cover. With English, I mean, my course is wrapped all around the idea of personal freedom, whereas someone else is writing about food and food waste. It's a completely different course stuff.
So, out of everybody that's been, accepted, what colleges are represented?
Oh, that's great. We've got Paradise Valley, South Mountain. We had Phoenix College with CPD, but Rio,
Rio, Glendale,
South,
PD,
Mesa?
Mesa has none. Mesa. So, and we've gotten, I forgot to tell you that, in reading proposals, we've gotten some excellent proposals from Chandler Gilbert. I don't know if any of you had submitted them. We're really looking for that collaboration. So I think a lot of them were either one person from a department or one or two people from a department. We needed that more, or there was a course that was a lower enrollment course. Now that, we've changed the weighting in the rubric for the high enrollment courses, so that's no longer going to be as big a factor. But we really want people working together, and that's an area that I think kind of may have hurt some of those proposals. But they've been excellent, so don't give up. We definitely would love to fund Chandler Gilbert.
Has the rubric changed a lot from the last submission?
Just one. We lowered the weighting of that one thing. We can pull up the website and show you all where these materials are.
All of this is in Alise's email, but I also just put links to all of it on the very next session page for today.
Awesome.
So our website is maricopa.edu/OER, and it's just going to take a minute to come out. I had bookmarks for you, but I forgot. So when you go to our site, if you go to the modules, it's the campus site. So you click on Learn More, you go into the modules, and you'll see all of the information here. You want to talk and I'll point?
Oh, I thought so. So this is the phase information call for proposals. It's just the tab that will tell you all the information that we've already shared with you today, with the links included. So if you want to submit your statement of interest, you can go ahead and submit that. And it's just a form, a Google form. Who are you? Where do you come from? And what's the course? And do you have anybody you might want to team up with already? So that's a really short, easy form. That's the one that's due by Monday. And then, of course, when you submit your proposal, this one's a little more in-depth, and that's why we included this document here that it's a Google document, but then you can save it to your own drive and then edit it and add in all of your information. And then when you're ready, you can fill out the proposal. So it's asking you lots of different questions, but it's pretty maybe 8, 9 things that you want to put in there. And then there's a rubric that you can check to see if there's a timeline of the courses that were already developed. Okay, so that's the statement of interest.
You can get to the rubric from the modules.
Okay, I thought it was coming up. All right, so rubric, phase 4 evaluation rubric. And it's really a good idea for you just to take a quick look at this before you submit it. And I would also recommend talking with someone in your CTL course to advise before you submit as well.
And this is the one on high enrollment course. This was a 2, now it's a 1, and you can see that having a materials plan or an implementation plan can very quickly make up for that in the weighting. And so we really wanted to take that heaviness off of that item.
And as you can see here that this is heavily weighted for multi-colleges. If you get 2 other campuses involved in your course, that's going to give you a 6, and that's really going to boost you above some of the others.
Yeah, and that's what I was referring to when I said that we had a couple of single people apply, individuals, 1 versus 6. It just really weighted it.
If you have one person that's interested, but they don't know anybody from other colleges, do you match them up?
That's what the statement of interest is for. So Monday the statements of interest are due. Tuesday I will go in and matchmake everybody and basically send an email and say, hey, you're interested, consider developing a proposal together.
All right, so go ahead and take it. You're welcome. Have a good class. So take a look at this and sort of look at your proposals. It's hard to judge based on just looking at the rubric what is very strong and what's weak, but it's good if you talk through somebody with it. So pick somebody who's not familiar with what you want to do and say, what do you think about this? Does this seem clear to you? Even if you don't know anything about the project or my class, what do you think about this? And that will be enough.
If we can go to the resources in our page so that we can show them a couple of, it's a good idea to have a plan of what you're going to be doing. So you might be like, well, I don't know if there's any philosophy books out there that are OER. And so we have some OER resources here. And we'll also add CCC OER to there if we don't have it. But first of all, there's the 7 things you should know about OER. That's from the EDUCAUSE Learning Initiative, and it has some really good information. But there's a whole bunch of different sites that have OER. Last week we had 3 repositories visit us. We had OpenStax. OpenStax is out of Rice University. It's Open, S-T-A-X, OpenStax. And they have very high-quality, peer-reviewed textbooks and resources. They have homework systems. They have test banks. They have iPad apps. They have ebooks and iBooks. And I'm not even making up letters. They really do have ebooks and iBooks. And a lot of different resources available. So OpenStax is one that's really a great resource. We had Lumen Learning. And they've created a number of community college level courses through their Kaleidoscope project. They were one of the first OER grants received through the Next Gen Learning Challenges grants, Lumen Learning. And this is their website, and you can take a look at their open courses. Most of them are developed in Canvas or in a site called Candela. And so they have some really good resources in a number of topics. And then our third repository was Saylor Academy, S-A-Y-L-O-R, and they have a number of resources also with easily editing their resources to make them your own. They have learning objectives and some really nice features with their courses. They have a number of foundational courses and full curriculum. So you can see they're very heavy in business and computers in terms of their curriculum, but they also have a number of other courses that you may find. So we welcome you to go in and kind of take a look at that. But these are just 3, and these are the 3 that came to visit us last week. The OER movement is really open, and we will have that available on video very soon too, that whole day. But what's really unique about that is, we have amazing presenters, and Jeanette and MCLI bring in amazing programs for us. We're very lucky to be provided with these resources. The 3 sets of speakers that came in last week from Texas, Washington, D.C., and Portland, they paid their own way to come and talk to our faculty. It's just this open movement. Everybody wants to share. It's pretty amazing.
Actually, kind of takes me backtracking a question. I was just taking some notes on our workshop page for today, so people can go find it. And you had said 3 to 5 proposals in the past had been accepted. Out of how many?
I think the most we've ever received are like 8 or 9. We've never received like.
And then my other question was, what's your feel for the pulse right now? Do you think because it's getting bigger, you get more applications this year? Just trying to give people, if they think it's more competitive this year.
I think it was hard because you know how it is. Early adopters, those are the ones that you really want to target. But we weren't able to really do that because we wanted high enrollment classes. So some people that might have been, well, we'll do this right away, they were rejected initially. So now it's almost like we have to sort of re-engage those early adopters because now we're ready for your courses.
Yeah, I mean,
so it's hard to
go
tell.
back to the people who applied last year and say,
right.
we really hope you're going to apply.
That's the question. Will they apply again, or are they, pouting because?
Well, I wondered if you did the outreach to them and said, we loved your proposal last year. The rubric has now changed.
That's a good idea.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
That's a great suggestion.
We should do that.
And then, Alise, can you just click on looking for OER, check out these sites?
These don't work.
They're not working. We'll fix that right away. Can you go to CCC OER?
Is it just CCC over there?
I think we have to just do a search for it. I think it's something else. So CCC OER is the Community College Consortium for Open Educational Resources. They're working on a web design. It's a really dense website. But they have this Find OER. And you can see that there's a whole bunch of different ways that you can, so there's philosophy, education, history, what have you. But there's a whole bunch of different ways you can find OER. I can tell you it takes a long time to find OER. We contact our publishers and we ask them for a couple of books. We look through them, we pick the one we want. This, we have the opportunity to really fine-tune the message we want to say to our students. We want our students to hear it through our textbooks. It takes a long time. You can be choosy, you can pick and choose, and that's why we have the grant. But if you have an idea of, oh, I want to use this CK12 book on this, and I want to use this Sailor book on this, and mix them up, then you have a stronger plan. Like, we know what you're thinking. If you come into the grant and say, I'm going to find some OER, we need you to kind of think it through a little bit further in that respect.
And it doesn't have to be a book. So
No.
not all of us are going to be able to find a
Websites.
full book. For instance, I teach an OER class that I got from Sailor, and it is all links. It's African American literature, so you don't really need a book for that because it's history, and all of that stuff is on the web somewhere. So it's really, someone took the time to find all of the different pieces of information, videos, lectures from, and to me, I teach community college, so I don't need to find a lecture from some guy at Harvard, because my students aren't going to sit there and watch that 60-minute lecture of Harvard. But that's what I liked about this, is that there's a variety of that. So when I saw that, I would say, I don't want that, because I don't even want to sit and listen to this guy talk for 60 minutes. So I would then replace it with something else, but the idea of what I needed was already there and had been identified. You need someone to talk about this concept. And then if I couldn't find somebody, then it allows me to be able to create it so that I become a part of my class too. So it's my voice with like 30 other people's voice of content. That could be a good thing or a bad thing, depending on what you're teaching.
And like I teach geography of Latin America and the Caribbean, I haven't taught it yet in Canvas. And so the next time I teach it, I'm going to develop it as OER. And I have a lot, when you're teaching about geography, there's so much information in the public domain. And so I can use a lot of links that way as well. So, I'm not going to apply for the grant, because it's for you all, but I will definitely develop it as an OER materials. Other questions?
Do you ever use any of the courses, the OER in Canvas, like Merlot and some of those areas? Have you looked into those resources?
Yeah, Merlot is a great resource for you to use. Merlot started out, when I first started with Merlot in the early 2000s, everything was peer reviewed. And it was really easy to find materials. I don't think they're as peer reviewed anymore, but those are great objects that you can drop into your class instead.
And that would involve still a lot of work on your part, because you're only finding pieces. So, and that's a good way to start. So if you teach classes already where you have sort of a module concept, we have 5 modules in English 101. You might start with one module where you start finding things. You still have your textbook for everything else, but then that one module, you supplement it, and then you can build it that way if you're not part of a grant. If you're part of a grant, it's great, but still, again, it's not, the only thing you're getting other than a little bit of money is the support, which is there anyway. I'm sure Julianne's not going to say, oh, you're not part of the grant, I can't help you. So I mean, and on any campus, it's the same way. When people come in to buy CTL, I tell them about the grant, but then I also say, but we can work on something together if you want to do it.
And every one of you can do something. You can do something this semester, by creating that little bit of content and or finding that little bit of content to incorporate into your class. My favorite thing is that when I'm teaching a class and something major in current events happens, I'm able to modify my course. That's a fantastic opportunity. And there are so many different resources available to you.
And there's a lot of other things that you could do within your own departments. So if you have, people always laugh when I say, our department is English reading and journalism. But journalism is one person. Oh, and ESL, and that's one person too. But our department is 40 people. And when I tell people that, they're like, wow, 40 people. But when I first got there to GCC, I came from South to GCC, no one was really sharing what they were doing.
Right.
And so I was always like, well, what are you doing? What are you doing? They just thought I was weird. They didn't know, because they didn't want to tell me. They thought I was going to say, oh, that's horrible. That's what you do? But since then, it's been 6 years, we actually have a Canvas site now where people are uploading their content. It's like a mini Merlot, but we're not checking to see if it's OER. But it's still a place where people are putting in content that they developed. I teach this lesson, and I want my students to be able to go to the library and search databases. Yeah, I made this video. Do you guys want it? People are like, oh, thank you. So, I mean, you're doing some things already. If I shared with you and you shared with me, I just went from having one thing to having two. And if we got you to share with us, now I have three, you have three, you have three. And it just grows from there. So encouraging each other, if you're really interested in OER, don't work alone. Even if they're not interested in the grant, still try to get them to do one thing for you. Because think about it, 40 people in my department, if we could get them to do one thing, which is kind of what we did, that site is like amazing now. Wow, look at all this great stuff.
Nice.
Are we done?
It's been an hour.
I drove an hour for an hour? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Right.
Please, if you have questions, contact us. We're happy to help. And we can't read your grants. We can't read any of the grants.
Oh, yeah.
So, but Julianne can.
I can read it.
Julianne can read them and ask us
But
questions.
Jeanette can't either. She's on the committee too. So.
Awesome, thank you so much.
You're welcome. And I'm glad I drove an hour.